Good morning, everybody. Welcome again to Daily Motivations for African Success with your beautiful host, the Butterfly, my mother, and me, Brandon. Good to see y'all again this morning. Welcome, welcome. Let us know as you tune in where you're coming from, where you're watching from in the chat room. This is our ninth day, if I'm not mistaken, of doing this. And what we're doing here with you all today, and what me and my mother are doing together, is going through the book titled Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbro. Dennis Kimbro is the best-selling author of Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. So good morning to everybody. Good morning, Mom Butterfly. How you doing out there, sweetie?
I'm doing great. How are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm good. Y'all, my mother right now has the honor and responsibility of taking care of my two children right now, her grandchildren. So I commend you for that, for being able to juggle it all at the same time, and that's grandma's superpower. So I'm relaxing in that right now, and
It's all good.
gonna chill out and just enjoy this rainy Memphis cloudy day, which I'm enjoying. I slept really good last night. I slept really good. I, my alarm didn't go off, but it says that it's on. I looked at it just a minute ago. It says that it's on, so I think my phone took a nap too and said, "You know what? I'm done with this, man. You're gonna stop using me like this." But it's fully charged. It just for some reason didn't go off today. But I think it was I blame it on the rain trying to give me some extra sleep. But I'm thankful I'm about to start the day. How's your day going, Mom?
So far it's good. I got up and I got up a little late too, but by choice because I don't have to leave the house this morning. So
Hmm.
I'm just gonna enjoy these beautiful grandbabies. Um, One sitting right here next to me, and the other still sleeping. But got them ready. Got them some fruit out so we can get this done, and I'll get some breakfast, and we'll enjoy our day.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'll get into it. The reason we're reading this book, Daily Motivations for African American Success, is an acknowledgement and celebration of of Black History Month for the year 2024. So my mother and I wanted to do something where we came on here every morning, um, and delivered what we are using right now. My mother, I had already owned the book, and I told my mother about how good it was and how I read parts of it every year. And my mother went and got the book and then sent me a picture that she got it herself. And I said, "Mom, we should read this together. We should do these daily motivations and affirmations together." And she thought it was a great idea. So I'm thankful for you for taking on uh, this undertaking, and I hope you guys benefit from it just as much as we've been benefiting from it, because it's I mean, I've read it before, but doing it with you, Mom, and doing it every single morning at the same time, which is not always easy to be here at the exact same time, but it's worth it. It's changing my life, and this book has already changed my life, but it's doing it in a different way now, that I'm enjoying it and reading it with my mother and with you guys here on live every morning, the month of February at 7 a.m. So thank y'all for rocking with us. If you're in the chat, let us know you're here. Say what's up. Let us know where you're coming in from. And let's jump into it. So, daily motivations for African American success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. But what it teaches will last you a lifetime. And Black Enterprise said about this book, each affirmation in this valuable and thought-provoking book takes only a few minutes to read, but is worthy of more time for contemplation.
Mm.
So if you did you want to say anything about that? I feel
And
you.
I had something to say, but when you read the time for contemplation, I'm a contemplator based on the life language assessment. My language is a contemplator.
Mm-hmm,
Um, but I was going to originally talk about, because I mentioned yesterday that I kind of wanted to go through the back part of it, and I was going to focus on will help you focus on thoughts, attitudes, and deeds. What is our focus during the day? And I think saying that, it does confirm that this book is about a success of the mind, being successful in knowing who you are, being successful in everything that we've talked about thus far, making those decisions, understanding the fabric of your life,
mm,
being truthful with yourself about it all, because it's not someone else, it's you, that you are responsible for who you are, where you are, and where you're going. The Waffle House, the Slim to None, all of those things. So the fact that it starts out there, that will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead you to the achievement of your goals. So your thoughts, your attitudes, and your deeds will lead you to your goals. And I think we asked the question one day, what are your goals? Brandon, it was interesting. I think, I'm not sure about this, so you guys will have to help me on this one. Yesterday was the first time it asked a question of us, I believe. What do successful men and women know that others don't? I'm not sure if we've had a question asked out of all these thus far.
mm.
So, just going back and reflecting on those things yesterday, that kind of stood out to me. And I did list all of the bullet points for yesterday in the comment section. So, if those of you, for those who missed the show and want to go back and listen, there are bullet points that we went over yesterday. And for those who heard the show and want those, they're out there. So, all right.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, Mom. I appreciate it. And I'm sure everybody else does too. And that's a good point that it asked a question. And interestingly, I don't remember it asking us any questions either. Um,
Yeah, I could be
actually,
wrong.
actually, there was
It is.
when there's a reason for everything. I think the first three or four sentences were questions, where it says, "Do you ever wonder what you're doing here?
Okay.
Have you
Okay.
pondered things like that?" But
Okay.
still, I think it's interesting that it had the bullet points, and we hadn't seen that yet. So I
Yeah.
appreciate
It
your
was
attention
something
to
different
detail.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
something different about yesterday.
I appreciate your attention to detail, and just seeing that the book is almost growing in its conversation, or coming at us in different ways in each
Hmm.
passage, and we should think about that and reflect about that. But today is February 9th, and the title for today's passage is Excuses, Excuses.
I almost want you to make it three times. Excuses, excuses, excuses.
Dennis Kimbro and the Butterfly co-author. No, that's good. So excuses, excuses, excuses. And the quote for today comes from Shirley Chisholm, who is a former congresswoman, African American congresswoman. And the quote is, "You don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas."
Mm.
And I'll jump right into it. So again, well, actually, I'll read that again. "You don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas." Wouldn't it be great if we could rid ourselves of excuses? We know that an excuse is any reason for inactivity. We've heard and used them all before. For example, many of us have said, "If only I had more money. If only the circumstances were different. If only I could have made adversity work for me. If only I had followed my dreams. If only." I had listened to others, if only I were the right color or right sex or came from the right side of the tracks, if only I had more schooling, if only things had gone according to plan, if only I had more time, if only I had married a different mate, if only I had more influential contacts, if only I had gotten all the breaks, if only I had listened. And if only I would stop making excuses, riches would be within my reach.
Mm.
And if only I would stop making excuses, riches, riches would be within my reach. So that's the passage for today. Let's think about that again. I mean, I really like that. If only I would stop making excuses, riches would be within my reach. And the affirmation of today that we say three times, one for ourselves, one for others, and one for people in the back, and people we're going to send this to. I am in control of my life. Each day, I will eliminate those excuses that stand between me and my good. I am in control of my life. Each day, I will eliminate those excuses that stand between me and my good. And the last time, I am in control of my life. Each day, I will eliminate those excuses that stand between me and my good. So, what are your thoughts, Butterfly?
Well, um, and I guess we'll call them bullet points here too. If only I had more money. If only the circumstances were different.
Mm-hmm.
So I love this, that there's nothing new under the sun. And for me, when I hear things like this, what it means to me is that there's someone who did not have more money, but they are successful.
Mm-hmm.
There is someone whose circumstances were not different, but they are successful. And I won't go on and on with all of those, but it goes back to yesterday, that the truth be told, it is not your environment, it is you.
Mm,
The quality of your minds, the integrity of your souls, and the determination of your will that will decide your future and shape your lives. So it is not your environment, it is not your money, it is not that your circumstances were not different. It is not that adversity did not work for you. It is not, well, if only I had followed my dreams. It is you. It is you about that one. If only I had listened to others. I hadn't listened to others. Again, that was you. The decisions we make, right? So
yeah.
all of these to me, they are just kind of building a person. Like they're building, these daily motivations are building a successful person. And when I say that, they're building wholeness. They're inviting wholeness to you.
Mm,
The encouraging you to stop fighting yourself, because it is not your environment. It is not your mom. It's not your dad. It's not your spouse. It's not your money situation. As yesterday said, let the truth be told, it is you.
mm. You know something I noticed? Well, first, before I say that, I do want to shout out the people that are rocking with us here on Instagram Live. We got Gator Sports Therapy, Gator Sports, the Modest Chicano. What's up, babe? Neighbor by Narrow joined. How you doing? And I'm not Josiah Johnson. What's up, Josiah? It's good to see all of y'all, man. I really appreciate y'all rocking with us this morning. Feel free to make comments inside of the comment section and let us know what you think about this passage. Give me a thumbs up if you heard the passage, and let me know if any parts of the passage need to be reread to you guys. But today is day 9, and it's titled "Excuses, Excuses," from the book Daily Motivations for African American Success. If you are African American or not African American, you are still welcome and invited to the cookout. So Thank you for joining us. This is something that not is not just good for African Americans, but it is in the context of the African Americans and their shared history. But at the same time, that's American history. So if you're here, any side of the continent, U.S., I'm sure you can reference this and have some knowledge of the history and story of African Americans, and can see how this can apply to your life. So thank you guys for joining us.
Hey,
Um,
Brandon, may I?
yeah,
Because if I don't say this, I might forget. And so yesterday, and I've talked a little bit about Soul Sisters here. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet up again with my Soul Sisters sister, and yes, little man just woke up. So y'all, we're gonna have to
what's
press
up,
him to
Pot?
sit there. Go get him a banana. Go get Tupac a banana for him. Go get a banana. So yesterday she and I, so we've not had an opportunity to see each other, COVID, all of that. We've talked a little bit here and there, but we used to um, get together, gosh, quite often, coffee, lunch, dinner, something. So yesterday we connected again, had lunch, and I was sharing with her about we're doing this and how different it is for African Americans, because of the things that we were born into, the mental slavery. I mentioned to her about grandmother, your great grandmother. You told the story about having the baby as she's picking cotton, deliveries on the tree, and then go right back to picking cotton. So stay there, baby. And I mean, she's white. She's Caucasian, and just her eyes teared up. She gets it. She's not in any way offended by a black choice or daily motivation for African American success, because she understands that it's different. It's different. It's different when you're told as a mother, when you feel that your child does not have to go to school because all they're ever going to do is pick cotton. And I mentioned that I have a young lady, an elderly lady in my life who was told that, and she beat the odds. Very successful, in my opinion. So I just wanted to throw that out there again, because as people of a different race listen to us, and they might say, "Oh, here we go again." I also shared with her that I learned and I didn't know this at the time that I learned it, that in the schools of all black schools, all schools that were, no other races were there. There was a time where dark complected students, women, girls, could not be cheerleaders because they were dark skinned. Now, this is in a school that's ran by African American principal, da da da, sister, whatever. But you could only be a cheerleader if you were of a lighter complexion.
Hmm.
And your grandma Earlene told me that. So and I'm just saying this, you guys, because I get it. Like this has to be a black choice, because that choice comes from your mind. So a man thinketh, so he is. And I'm just so a woman thinketh, so she is. So it has to be a black choice for us. And that's why I say, um, you tell me your story and give me an excuse. I'll tell you somebody with your story who didn't make excuses and they are successful. I just want to
Absolutely,
share that.
absolutely, and and don't get me wrong, that this is targeted in particular to alleviate some of those generational traumas and some of the residue that is still found in some of the pathologies,
Mm-hmm.
um, of not just us, but also the pathologies of America and the West at large, because we are all we we have all been tainted. I won't say tainted a little, but we all have all been impacted. If you lived in the United States of America, and if your history, even if you're an immigrant, but definitely if you have a family history in America, we have all been impacted um, by the narrative of the United States and its history. So want us to remember that because we during, let's just talk about slavery for a second. African Americans weren't the only ones impacted in my assessment, and who are coming back from generational traumas. I also think it's a generational trauma for a young white kid to see a black body hang from a tree as people revel around it, right? That's also a mental trauma that has to be compensated for, and that gets passed down. You know, that's also a taking of their innocence. It's also a damaging of their heart, you know, and a darkening of their heart and their perception, and a critical change in the worldview that I think a child is naturally born with, and the natural inclinations toward good, to now be uh, 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 it's now being superimposed by a new worldview and perspective that dehumanizes people. So I think that has those generational traumas have also left residue on our white brothers and sisters. And so we all have to deal with that. We all have to have those conversations. And speaking of conversations, getting back to the book, excuses, there are some situations where it does almost a double speak. So if you look, it says, and one of the excuses, it says, if only I hadn't listened to others. That was one of the excuses that was given. If only I hadn't listened to others. And then at the very end, it said, if only I had listened. So I think what that tells me is that it's really your perception. It's really the changing of your mind. It's really the renewing of your mind, because you could have said at the same time, if only I had listened to that advice. And then at the end of the passage, it says, if only I hadn't listened. And at the end of the passage, it says, if only I had listened. So the difference isn't what people are saying. The difference is your perception of it. Okay. So it's your mind, it's your critical thinking, it's your action or inaction that's making that critical difference. So I just wanted to put that out there as we look through this passage. And I want to read these excuses one more time. And for the people in the chat, let me know, what excuse is yours? What's the one that has, you know, that you use the most? Which excuse is in your toolkit? And I'm asking you today to throw that tool in the trash, because it no longer serves you, it no longer builds for you. It is a tool of destruction. So I'm going to read these excuses, and I mean, I might just say it again. You know, wouldn't it be great if we could rid ourselves of excuses, and we know that any excuse is just a reason for our inactivity. We've heard and used them all before. If only I had more money. If only the circumstances were different. If only I had made adversity work for me. If only I had followed my dreams. If only I hadn't listened to others. You know, and at the end it says, if only I had listened to others. So it's definitely us. If only I had more schooling. Like my
Mm.
mother said, there are so many people that had worse conditions that did more with less. And so that's something that I think about. There are people that have done more with less. So who am I to not do with what I have? And many times when people make excuses, they're trying to make themselves feel better. And one of the things that I've noticed in some of these excuses is that I see excuses that we tell to ourselves, and I see excuses that we tell ourselves, and then I see excuses that we tell others in here. And I think some of these excuses are the excuses that we tell ourselves. And I think those are the biggest lies. And those are the ones that we're afraid to tell others because we know that they're lies. You know, so look through those passages, look through those excuses, and see if you can. And I'm sure my mom will list them if you guys go back and review this. But which ones are the excuses that you tell others? It might be, if only I had more money. You know, if only my circumstances were different. Or you might blame someone else. If only I had married a different person, right? Oh man, if
Brandon,
only I
also,
had that network.
which do you tell yourself? Which ones do you tell yourself? Because I think that we know the truth. That we really know the truth. And so, which do you tell yourself things different things than you tell others
Hmm.
about your excuses? And that goes back to focus on the thoughts, attitude, and I'm going to say your thoughts, attitudes, and deeds, because oftentimes we focus on the attitudes, the thoughts, and the deeds of others
Right.
while leaving our pot dirty and say
Dirty.
it's clean, dirty, and say it's clean. I left out, had to go be grandma, y'all. So apologize, but it is what it is. Let it do what it do, right? But don't let it do you. So I'm not letting it do me. I'm just taking care of my grandbabies because they are most important here. So just getting them settled. I left out on you were talking about the traumatic experience of a Caucasian, a white child seeing what they may have seen back in that time. It made me think
Hmm.
about, and I'm gonna bring this up, you guys, because again, we need to start focusing on, remember that today, our thoughts, our attitudes, and our deeds. And there is a time for everything. And it reminded me of I'll say one of my goddaughters who was in the 901 butterflies when I was doing that. And we would have our studies about, God and things like that. And I remember her bringing up the story of Abraham and how hearing that God had asked him to sacrifice his only son frightened her. It made her
Mm.
fearful of God in a way that we are not supposed to be fearful. She was like, well, what if he tells my mom to kill me? Because she heard this at a very tender age. And so often, we forget about the timing of things. And then there's that verse say, get off of the milk, right? Because we give, in that sense, children are the spongy people. They are the ones that we're supposed to be pouring the milk into and not always needing the milk. And I think we have a whole nother show on that. But it just reminded me because let the truth be told, we go through some stuff. Like we have some traumatic experience. All of us, all of us. But again, some of us, and what makes those people different is the question asked yesterday. Know the difference between success, or what's different. What do they know? Successful people know that others don't. So think about that. The time, as we talk about having the grandbabies, um, I'm so intentional, as I mentioned on one of the shows, your child's or the children's mental state is far more important than A's and B's. I'm telling you, if we can teach them to love who they are, know who they are, we can be intentional about making sure we're that as well and not expect them to be and act. How can they have control of their emotions when we're adults and we're still flipping out over somebody pulls out in front of us, right? Right. So
Yeah. Oh,
let's
yeah.
think about this. So
Yeah.
often we ask these little human beings to um to act and be and know all this stuff at this tender age, and even that
And to
in
be better
itself.
than us, right?
Right, and to do things that we've not that we don't do. Do this.
Right.
Ask yourself, are you doing this, so that they can see this? Because the best way they learn is through
Right.
sight and through what you do, not what you say.
Yeah. How I'm gonna ask my children to be go clean your room and don't leave your toys out. And there go my boxing gloves right over there on the floor. Or
Yeah,
there go,
how are you
you
gonna
know,
do that, bring some grandchildren? How
I
you
need to
gonna do
clean
it?
up my stuff.
Yes, yes.
Exactly. No, I'm just saying in general. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
I'm kidding with you. You know how you did me with the road rage the other day. So I'm just kidding.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah. An example. So I wanted
yeah,
to do the same
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
But it's something you said about the trauma and the fire, and I thought you can either be forged by fire or you can be consumed by it.
Hmm.
Your fire can keep you warm, or it can burn you. And so I think the subject is not the fire, but rather our proximity to it and our control or lack thereof of it. And so, what is your fire? Also, you spoke about Abraham, and that, funny enough, that was actually
I
the
know.
passage that we studied last night
Yeah, yeah.
at the class. So, guys, I'm doing this class with Sheikh Fazaga, a Muslim a Muslim scholar, and we're going through this. All right, am I still there? Okay, cool. So this Muslim scholar, and we're doing an interesting.
Brian, I don't know what you're doing, but it looks. I think you're covering up your speaker thing.
Oh, okay, I
You're
got people.
moving a lot.
Oh, sorry, I got people calling me because they're trying to get weight cuts. Y'all stop calling me right now. I'll call y'all back. Y'all grown men. Um, that's how I talk to the homies. But uh, um, 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 where was I at, Mom?
Sorry, you were talking about the class, the
Oh
journey
yeah,
through the
oh yeah,
scriptures.
and right.
Um,
And so one of the guys was speaking about a child having that very same experience where they were like, that scares me. That makes me
mhm.
fear my own father, right?
Wow.
That their child had that same experience. And there's other, because we were comparing those two contemporary stories, those two stories, the story as it's told in the Torah or the first five books of the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, verses and in Genesis, stuff like that, and also how that story is told in the Quran, and seeing the differences and comparing and contrasting what the similarities were. And the Sheikh Imam, the Muslim scholar, said that he himself had struggled with this, thinking, was it even befitting of God to command someone to slaughter their child, right? And in the biblical narrative, the child doesn't know he's about to be slaughtered, whereas in the Quranic narrative, the child is told by Abraham that, hey, I had a vision of you, of me slaughtering you. What do you think? And the child said, if you heard this from your Lord, then do as you commanded. Surely you will find me among those who are patient and persevering. And it was really a challenge for us all to bring that all together. And just thinking about it, there's so many excuses that could have been given from Abraham. I mean, and he would have been well within his right. But I think, what struggles for us is, does the end justify the means? Because in the end, a ram or a lamb was replaced, but does it justify the means? Right? Is it unbefitting of God to have such means? And is that an example for us?
So, you guys, first of all, let me say this. So, I missed last night's class. This is the most, this is probably one of the most rewarding biblical classes that I've ever had an opportunity to take part in. So, the journey in the scriptures. So, we're journaling through the Bible and the Quran. So, we're studying the same things, and I wouldn't say in comparison, but we're looking at both. And the first one the first one that I remember is Noah. I want to speak on Noah. Like, what if God had told you to do what He told Noah to do? And that was one of my questions in the first class. Like, man, to do that in that time. But there are things that God asks of us today. Today, don't have enough time. I wish I could share some stories with you that I have had the opportunity to go through with God. But it's so beautiful to see, and I don't want to get off the subject here, but to see people of all races, coming from different churches, different beliefs, come together and
Hmm.
study and discuss how they see this based on what they were, for the most part, raised up in. And then there are some who were raised up in it but decided to do their own research and study the one that works best for them. But it's so beautiful. So I had to just, because I know some people will hear that and be like, oh, well, we really? Because that's how we are. That's how we are. If you don't believe like me, well, you're going to go to hell and all that. But one of the most beautiful things, since we're here, that I've ever been told, and my brother shared this with me, he said that, don't know how true it is. This man, he died. God allowed him to come back to life and live. And he had a question for God. There's so many different religions. You've gifted me this life again. I want to pick the right one. And it says that God's answer was the one that brings you closer to me. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? So I know we got off the subject a little bit, but everything happens for a reason, right?
Let it do what it do. It ain't doing us
But,
though.
but that was one of the ones, right? Everything happens for a reason. Didn't we have that one?
Yep, yep,
There's a reason for
absolutely.
everything.
There's a reason
So
for everything.
just wanted to say that. So all right, let's get back on topic. No
Yeah.
excuses,
So
right?
yeah, so we're coming up on some of the end of our time, but we want to uh, kind of go back and take a recap. The title for today on day 9 is excuses, excuses. I would encourage everybody to analyze and take account of themselves, of their own history, of their own past dealings, and think about the excuses that you may have used uh, uh, to justify your inaction. And today we're
Mm.
gonna delete that. We're saying that today we're in control of our life, not our circumstances. We'll start eliminating those excuses. So it's like going through your house and saying like, man, I don't wear that shirt anymore. That shirt isn't befitting of me. I don't wear those pants anymore because it's too small for me. That excuse is to validate or justify your action. I'll say your excuse is too small to justify your inaction. And I think internally we all know it. We know we have this sense of what we're capable of, and I stress, anxiety, and worry reduced when we find that we are a great distance away from our capabilities and what we're truly our true potential. And when there's that great distance, we try to mend that distance, close that distance with our excuses. If it were only that I had a greater network, if it were only that I was at the right place at the right time, if it was only. Those are excuses. Any excuse is a reason for your inactivity. So what I'm saying is, yes, everything happens for a reason, but don't let your reason be an excuse.
Excuse me. Right. Hey,
I'll say
Brandon,
that
can
again.
I?
Everything happens for a reason, but don't let your reason be an excuse.
I want to jump
Yes.
in before I know we're going to try to wind it down here. Where it talks about gives us the quote: "You don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whispering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas." And the word for the day: implementing. And to implement means to put a decision, plan,
Hmm.
agreement, etc., into effect. So, what are you doing if you don't make enough money? If you don't have enough money, what are you doing to change that? What are you doing? What are you doing to change that? How are you spending what you have? How are you doing that? So, no excuses. And the other one, if only my circumstances were different. How can I make my circumstances different? Because again, I'll show you from somebody who came from absolutely nothing, nothing, a nothing kind of circumstance, but they got it. They know it. Um, if I only had followed my dreams, how can you follow your dreams? Do you know what your dreams are? Or are you making excuses? All right. So just want to throw that out there. I think I'm done. I got
Hey,
grandbabies to
thank you.
tend
Thank you
to.
for that. I mean, I think I think we all needed to hear that one today. Go out into the world, be great. Don't make excuses. If you do, catch that thought, because sometimes it'll slip by. You're like, oh well, I'm not gonna do this because of this. I'm tired. I'm this and that. But whatever you've committed to, you guys to go out there and get it today. Implement a plan to complete your goals. We are changing our thoughts, our decisions, our attitudes um, towards these things that we do every day. Just like the book said, it says it'll allow you transcend the labels, cultivate a positive attitude, and know when to say yes and when to say no. It may be that you're overcommitting and under delivering, and that's why you have to provide an excuse. So take an account of your capability, your capacity, and work within those bounds until you can grow. And you can grow your capacity. So, guys, no excuses today. Before we go, I'm going to read our affirmation 3 times. Again, one for me, one for you, and one for the people in the back of the room or the back of the chat. I want y'all to comment. I want y'all to going to be on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook all at the same time. So be sure to share if you gain anything from this today. Our affirmation is I am in control of my life. Each day, I will eliminate those excuses that stand between me and my good. I'm in control of my life. Each day, I will eliminate those excuses that stand between me and my good. This time, you guys can see it at the bottom of the screen. I am in control of my life. Each day, I will eliminate the excuses that stand between me and my. I hope you guys take this with you. I hope it settles, reverberates through your consciousness, through your heart, and through your mind today, and that it helps you to achieve your goals and it helps you to bring about your own success and fulfill your purpose. This
Hey,
may be standing in between you and your good.
and before we go, I'd like to just kind of
Yes.
honor our listeners and those who are commenting. Miss Brenda Davis, good morning, Brandon and Tammy, working from
Mm-hmm.
home here in Memphis. Glad to be joining you all live this morning. Victoria, cousin Victoria, says thumbs up. So she's in the house.
Hey,
Um, yeah, that's my baby, y'all. My the daughter that I never had.
Uncle Mike is out there.
Um, yeah, Shasta, good morning, cousin, all the way from Georgia. Cousin Toy, all the way from Florida, by way of Georgia, maybe, and by way of, I think, was it New Jersey? New Jersey? I don't know. Brother Mike, the one that brings you closer to me. So he is kind of confirming the story that he shared with me. Cousin Vicky Toria again says, love you both. And Mike says, thank you. Something just happened. Thank you for the encouraging words. And New York. Oh, how did I forget that? Toy says New York, not New Jersey. Um, thank you,
Yeah.
especially for the
Some
fam.
fighting
Thank God
words.
for coming in. Huh? What'd you say, Brandon?
Say yeah, you said from New York, they from New Jersey. It's fighting words.
Yes, yeah, right. I can hear Toy now. Oh no,
But
just New York, not New Jersey. Trent says, "What
yep,
up,
yep.
family?"
Trent's there too. He said, "What up, family?"
Yeah, yeah.
I
Toy
appreciate y'all,
says,
everybody, for tapping
"LOL."
in with us today. Thank y'all, man. Please share this with other family members,
Yeah.
specific. And if we can't do it with our own family, then we don't really ask anybody else to do it. But let's do this with our own family. Share this with other members of our family and tell them to tap in the morning. Get these folks up early so that if we individual successes, then when we come together, that'll be an even greater success. Our units and blocks, family units and blocks. Um, that build a civilization, that build an empire. And I don't mean an empire as far as imperialism, but an empire is for where we bring ourselves. So again, guys, don't make any excuses today. You are in control of your life, and each day you're gonna eliminate the excuses that stand between you and your good. Okay. I love y'all, family. Be here same time, same place tomorrow at 7 a.m. for day 10 of Daily Motivations for African Success, a celebration of Black History Month, reading Dennis Kimbro's book, Daily Motivations for African American Success. Thank you guys so much, and we
I'll
will
list the
see you
excuses
tomorrow.
in
Be
the
great
comment
and
sections.
be blessed.
Okay, Brandon, I'll list them today in the comment section. Okay,
Okay.
thank y'all. Much
Okay.
love. All
Sounds
right.
good. Sounds
We
good.
love you
Thank
too,
y'all.
Toy. Toy says facts. Love y'all. All right. Great day, great people.
Hey.